Hello class, welcome back to Algebra 1 Bootcamp. Today we're continuing to talk about measures of variation and box and whisker plots. A box and whisker plot deals with a lot of different things with data, so that's why we kind of do this after we study mean, median, and mode. So the first thing we need to talk about is the measures of mean and spread. So a range and a spread are basically the same thing. It's the distance between the smallest and largest value. So if you're looking at these numbers, you want to figure out what the range is. You would first find your smallest number, which in here appears to be 2, and your largest number appears to be 10. So you would just say 10 minus 2, which is 8, or 8 units apart, and that would be your range, or your spread. You'll see those words used pretty interchangeably from time to time. I'm going to talk about quartiles. When you're dealing with quartiles, you're actually using the median, which is that middle number. So first, you're going to put the numbers in order. Here's our data set. They're the same numbers as the example above. So we can go ahead and put them in order. 2, then we have a 3, then we have another 3, then we have a 4, then another 4, 5, then a 6, then a 7, then an 8, then a 9, and finally a 10. Then we're going to find the median. The median, again, is the number in the middle. So looking at our numbers, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 numbers. So the halfway between the 11 numbers would put us 5 on each side with 1 in the middle. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So 1 in the middle. So our median in this case would be 5. Then we're going to find the middle of the first half of the data. So it's like we're finding another median. This we call the first quartile. Quartile, like quarter, you're dividing it into quarters. So just looking from 2 to 5, we want to find the middle here. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 numbers. So the middle is going to be right here. 3 on one side, 3 on the other. So in this case, our first quartile, or our Q1, is going to be 3.5. Then we're going to find the middle of the second half of the data, which we call the third quartile. Secondly, the second quartile is technically the median, which we already found. So if we look here from 5 to 10, we want to find the middle number here. Again, there's 6 numbers. So we're going halfway. 3 numbers on each side. So the middle of 7 and 8 is 7.5. Or 7.5, either one. So those are your quartiles. It's all about finding the middle. Now that we've talked about quartiles, we're going to talk about a box and whisker plot, which is really just a way of organizing your quartiles. So you maybe have seen these before and you might have talked about them a little bit, but this number here is your minimum number, or your smallest, and this one is your max. And then this box represents your quartiles and your median. So this is your quartile 1. This is your quartile 2, or your quartile 3, excuse me. This is your quartile 3, or sorry, this is your quartile 2, which is also your median. So I could take the numbers up here and organize them into my own box and whisker plot. Let's get those back up here. My minimum number in the data, oops, there it goes, was 2. And my maximum was 10. And you can do it on a formal number line so it's nice and evenly spaced. I'm just doing a rough sketch right now. So now you're going to draw your box. Your quartile 1 is at 3.5. Your quartile 3 is at 7.5. And then you draw your box like this to connect your two boxes. Your median is at 5. And then you draw your little whiskers, hence the name box and whisker. The purpose of the box and whisker plot is to show you where the majority of your numbers are lying. Technically, if you're just given a box and whisker plot, you can find anything you need, but you really can't find the mean, just because everything in a box and whisker plot is based on the median. So once you know your box and whisker plot or your quartile, either way, you can find your interquartile range, which is the distance between the quartile 3 and the quartile 1. So if we're looking at the above example here, the distance, or how far apart, are 7.5 and 3.5, our quartile 3 and our 1, 54. Now put it back, and let's talk about how to use a box and whisker plot. So we can make our own, or we can make conclusions based on a box and whisker plot that we see. These box and whisker plots are representing test scores from the year 2000 and the year 2010. Answer the questions. What is the range of the 2010 data? So the range is the largest number and the smallest number. So in 2010, the highest score was 28, and the smallest score was 8. 28 minus 8 is 20. I don't really know the unit here, points, or maybe it's a percentage point, I'm not sure. What is the spread of the 2000 data? Well, if you recall, on the previous page, range and spread are basically the same thing. So let's look. The highest score here was probably 27, and the lowest score was 4. So 27 minus 4 is 23. What is the interquartile range of the 2010 data? Here you're just looking at your box. So your quartile 3, that's at 20. Your quartile 1 is at 11. 20 minus 11 is 9. And then 2000, same thing, same process, looking at your box. I'll say that that's 23 and 14. So my interquartile range is 9. Oh, isn't that convenient? My interquartile ranges are the same. Now, we got to do a little bit more thinking for the next ones. Which maximum value is bigger, 2010 or 2000? So you really just have to pay attention and know what is represented in the table or in the box and whisker plot. So here is your maximum value. Your maximum value or your box and whisker plot that has a bigger maximum value is 2010, and it's 28. And the next one says, what is the difference of the medians of the data? So now we have to recognize our median. Remember, the median is the line in the middle of the box. So 17 is the 2010 data, and 20 is the 2000 data. So the difference between 2000 and 2010 is 3, because you would subtract them. And you would probably also want to say that 2000's median was 3 units higher than that was 2000, not 2000, than 2010. Okay, when you finish taking your notes, feel free to go back and copy down anything you may have missed, and show me your notes, and I will open up your Canvas assignment.